and welcome to Call Me When They Kiss. I'm Sydney.
I'm Issa, and welcome to our monthly bonus episode. Today we read 2 books for Pride Month. We read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid and Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall.
Issa, tell them what you did.
I listened to all of Boyfriend Material in one day. Actually, we didn't even talk about that. Sydney and I have already been sitting here talking for like an hour. And yeah, we did not even mention the fact that, can you believe I actually finished it today?
I am impressed. I don't think I would have done it. Like, even when I really like a book, it's a lot to just like listen to. Well, what speed were you listening to it on?
2.
Okay, I listened to it on 2 as well. And it honestly didn't sound that fast.
Yeah, no, it was fine. Yeah. Well, I listened to the last 2 hours on 2.5.
How did that sound?
It was fine. I can speed it up if I like do it gradually. You kind of trick yourself into thinking it's not that fast.
Well, I was worried at first when it was a British narrator because we have tried listening to some British books in the past, and sometimes I struggle, and I'm like, I can't understand you. And this one was like pretty soft. It wasn't that bad, so I was happy to hear that, and I could speed it up.
That actually made me panic when I started it. I was like, oh no, he's British. But I was like, I don't have time to listen to this on one speed, like on normal speed.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It was fine. The other books we've listened to with British narrators, they were way harder to understand.
I wonder if our British friends would be able, like, if we sent them a clip of this and then like a clip of Magnolia Parks, like if they would be able to tell like where the accents were from.
Oh, I think they definitely would. Because, like, on Love Island UK, when someone walks into the villa, they can always tell where they're from. At the peak of my Love Island UK watching, I, like, had some of them down, actually. Like, there's some really obvious ones.
Like, you could recognize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I'm not going to try to... Obviously, I'm not going to, like, try to do any right here.
It's probably, like... anyone can hear like a New York accent and know that like that's a New York accent.
Exactly.
So yeah. But there's some that I hear like even within the United States and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know people spoke that way here.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I'm impressed though. You did it.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it actually. Sydney, which book would you like to start with?
Let's start with Boyfriend Material.
Okay.
Because that's freshest.
Okay.
I really wanted to reread Atmosphere, but I didn't. And so now I'm a little bit worried because I feel like I can't as strongly, like, articulate what I liked about it, but we'll see.
I'm sure it'll come back to you, especially because I have thoughts. This actually will be an interesting discussion.
Okay. I'm scared. Okay. But we'll start with Boyfriend Material.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a synopsis you want?
Sorry.
She just aggressively cleared her throat into the microphone.
Okay. Should I just read it from... Oh, it's a pretty short one on Wikipedia, actually. Should I read it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, Boyfriend Material was directly inspired... this is a fun fact before I read the synopsis because it's above it. And it's very interesting. I'm just now reading this, and it's interesting because me and Issa have some beef with this guy. This was directly inspired by Richard Curtis rom-coms of the 1990s and early 2000s, such as Notting Hill, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and Love Actually. So we talked about this writer, the writer of those movies, in our Notting Hill episode, because we looked at what other movies he made, and we were like, Issa hasn't seen some of the other ones, but like I hated Love Actually and I hated Notting Hill. So now I'm kind of like laughing at the fact that this was like directly inspired by this guy who like I don't like anything he's written.
That is so funny because I could tell. Like,
really?
The end of Boyfriend Material, I was like, this is just like Notting Hill, and the author's British, the book is British. I was like, I bet this author loves Notting Hill. Yeah.
Well, you were
Okay.
right.
That
I
makes
guess
so
I
much
didn't
sense.
catch on to that because I DNF'd Notting Hill.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Luke O'Donnell is tangentially and reluctantly famous. His rock star parents split when he was young, and the father he's never met spent the next 20 years cruising in and out of rehab. Now that his dad's making a public comeback, nope. Now that his dad's making a comeback, Luke's back in the public eye, and one compromising photo is enough to ruin everything.
Compromising.
What did I say? Compromising?
Compromising. You said compromising.
Guys,
Just keep going.
it's just one. And okay, no. Now that his now that his dad's making a comeback, Luke's back in the public eye, and one compromising photo is enough to ruin everything. I said that right? Ugh. To clean up his image, Luke has to find a nice, normal relationship, and Oliver Blackwood is as nice and normal as they come. He is a barrister. Sorry, I have to. You can keep this in, okay? When I was reading the synopsis of this book before I started, I was skim reading it, and I was certain that said barista. And so when I started the book, and it kept going, I was like, I'm confused. Did I read the wrong synopsis? Did I start the wrong book?
You're
This
like,
man is
"Where's
not
the
a barista."
barista?
I was like, heated rivalry type,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, no, he's a barrister. An ethical vegetarian, and he's never inspired a moment of scandal in his life. In other words, perfect boyfriend material. Unfortunately, apart from being gay, single, and really, really in need of a date for a big event, Luke and Oliver have nothing in common, so they strike a deal to be publicity-friendly, fake boyfriends until the dust has settled. Then they can go their separate ways and pretend it never happened. But the thing about fake dating is that it can feel a lot like real dating, and that's when you get used to someone, start falling for them, and you don't ever want to let them go. So, there's your synopsis.
So, spoiler alert, the fake dating does turn into real dating.
When does it not?
And that's basically the story. This book was recommended to us by one of our gay correspondents, Kylan.
Hi, Kylan.
Yes, hi, Kylan. Honestly, we should have invited him back, actually. But
yeah, especially if you like the book.
yeah, but we're recording this episode very last minute, so we didn't plan things out well enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Where to begin? Would you like to share your overall thoughts?
Overall, I thought that it was really sweet. There's a word I've been using to describe a certain kind of rom-com or romance, and it's tender. It feels tender. It's not steamy. I mean, there's one sort of open door, but it's not really explicit or anything scene, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a steamy, sexy kind of rom-com, but it's one that feels just kind of cozy and tender and cute. So overall, I can see the appeal. I think it was nice. I think it showed a lot of aspects about what should be a part of a healthy relationship. They both kind of had these insecurities and struggles, and they overcame that together, and I think it was just kind of nice to see that growth. My only complaint is that it felt a couple hours too long, the audiobook, and so that led me to feel a little bit bored at times. But also I feel like I don't even want to say that because it's just a slower paced book. And and that's why I call it cozy. I think that it just depends what mood you're in. And I'd say to read this one when you're in the mood for a drama-free, slower kind of feel-good romance. So I don't want people to take that to heart when I say I was kind of bored. It just really is a nice, calm, cute love story. And that if that's what you're looking for, I think this will really hit the nail on the head. I think I've just been so used to the rom-coms I'm reading having some sort of crazy shenanigans and over the topness or really dramatic third act breakups or whatever, and this had those tropes but in a more kind of subtle way. And so yeah, It felt a little long, and I didn't, like, totally connect with the characters, which is something that, like, when it comes to rom-coms, the books that I really, really, really love are the ones that, like, I see myself in these characters. I don't think it's a no-brainer that I didn't see myself in a British gay man, but, I still enjoyed reading their story, and, like, I think like I said, I think it was really tender, um, but it for those reasons, it just might not be at, like, the top of, like, oh, my favorite rom-coms, you know?
Mhm. Yes, I agree with all that. I thought it was really funny, actually. It was funny and not in a cringe way. I
Mhm.
thought it was witty. There were a lot of parts that made me smirk or chuckle a little bit.
Snort.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, I agree though. It dragged on just like a little bit too long, especially because somehow the end still felt kind of rushed, which was weird. Like, I thought the third act breakup, it was more like an 11th hour breakup. And it happened kind of abruptly, and it also seemed out of character, I thought, for Oliver. So the whole story, it's from Luke's point of view, and he has some character development, which I thought was good, and
Mhm.
they're dealing with all of his issues, and then, like, the very last, like, couple hours of the book, it kinda switches to, like, Oliver and his family, and then he initiates the 3rd act breakup, and yeah, maybe if we had which I'm not a huge fan of dual POV, actually, so I liked that it was all just from Luke's perspective, but maybe dual POV would have helped if we were going to all of a sudden switch to Oliver
Yeah.
and his problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a dual POV would have been okay for this one, like, it's not as fun, especially with the fake dating trope, to have a dual POV one because there's no kind of, like, reveal moment that, like, he's fallen for him, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, um, but this one, I think that it would have worked because you could kinda tell from the beginning that they liked each other, like, you knew it was fake, but that they became friends very easily, connected well with each other, that they, like, both had, like, Luke had been rejected in the past, but, like, I kind of already I mean, it's a fake dating trope. I guess I already know no matter what that, like, they're gonna end up together, but I feel like this one felt different than other fake datings in the way that, like, before they even became official, they were, like, expressing how much they liked each other, how they missed each other, how they're glad that they have each other in their lives, like, it was
Yeah,
leading up
that's
to this,
true.
like, big, like, fake dating reveal of, like, "Oh my gosh, we've fallen in love," and so I think it would've been fine, whereas, like, in other stories, it's kind of fun to, like, see that moment of, like, oh, like, when did things change for you, you know? Mhm.
I liked the writing, like, I might consider listening to the other ones
Yeah,
just
that's what I
'cause
felt.
it was a fun listen.
I agree, even though I was like, "Well, you know," even if it's was a little bit cozier or slower than I was expecting, um, or even if I didn't, like, super identify with the characters, it still felt like a really well-written book. Like,
Mhm.
it was good storytelling, there wasn't any part like you said, there was nothing that made me cringe, and that's a big deal because a lot of contemporary romances like, I either, like, love contemporary romance or I'm like, "This is the cringiest, most
Yeah.
painful thing I've ever read," and none of this was painful, none of it was cringy. I guess I'm just not really used to reading just, like, sweet, healthy romances either, like,
Yeah.
and, like, obviously, they were still, like, working through their own personal problems, but at the end of the day, they were, like, 2 really polite, nice guys
Mhm.
who, like, genuinely, like, wanted to, like, be better for each other and, like, make their relationship work.
I felt like Luke was kind of unlikable at first, but there was enough character development that by the end I did like him.
Mhm.
So, that was something else I appreciated. I feel like sometimes contemporary romance lacks any character development.
Yeah.
But like you said, they both were trying to change and evolve to be better for each other, and that part did work for me.
And quickly. Like, the drama didn't drag on. Like,
Mhm.
there's one moment where Luke kind of has a crash out because an article was published about him, and he just gets in his feels about that, and he like breaks up with Oliver, and it's like the same night that he shows up and he's like, "Look, I'm sorry," like, and I can't say that I'm gonna be perfect or that I won't freak out again or that I won't be in my feels again, but like what I can say is, like, I can try to do better, and I can try to talk to you about it, and I can try, like, it felt so, like, healthy and grounded. I
Mhm.
don't think I've read anything like that, and that it was so quickly, like, it wasn't, like, drama for the sake of drama and, like,
Mhm.
dragging it out, and which is part of why I think it felt longer too, though, is because then, like, it would quickly resolve, and I'm like, well, there's, like, half the book still, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, you weren't quite sure, like, they'd have some conflict, but they'd resolve it so well, and then they'd have a conflict, they'd resolve it, and I'm like, "Oh, so what's the big conflict?" You know?
Mhm.
So,
No, that's a good point. I think cozy really is a good way to describe it. There were a lot of side characters, and some of the scenes felt like they went on for a long time, but they were like cute, quirky, funny characters. Yeah, cozy is like the perfect word, actually. And I think like, I don't think that's what I was expecting. Honestly, I thought it was going to be smutty.
yeah. I was like, "Heated rivalry?"
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
then when it was like just cute and cozy, yeah, it's not a bad thing. I wasn't expecting it. I went into it pretty
yeah,
blind, actually.
yeah. Which is why I said at the beginning that I'm like, well, like, I don't wanna say that I was bored at parts because I think that if I'd went in with different expectations of knowing what it was, that it would have
Mhm.
just been, like, a different experience. Um, but I will say the thing about the side characters and the longer scenes with them and all of that is this would make for a really good TV show.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
And all of those characters are, like, fleshed out enough that, like, if you watch the show, like, they wouldn't have to be, like, making up backstories and friends
Uh-huh.
and things like that, like, and a lot of times they do kinda have to, like, fill in the gaps in that way, and I feel like all the other characters were fleshed out enough that we could watch a show and be like, "Oh, yeah, that really feels like this character," you know?
Mhm. No, that's true. One of the most random side plots, well, maybe I shouldn't say random because it was one of the main side plots, was his rock star dad that left him as a child.
Mhm.
Tried to come back into his life because he was diagnosed with cancer. And then it was revealed that his dad didn't actually have cancer. Like they did another test or something and he didn't actually have cancer. So then his dad disappeared from his life again. And I thought that was crazy. Like I thought it was building up to like some
Yeah.
reconciliation, some moral of the story where he forgave his dad, blah 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 blah. Nope, his dad
Nope.
didn't have cancer and he disappeared. So
But
I
I
do
kinda like
wonder.
that.
Yeah, it
Like,
cuz
he's a lame man and he stayed a lame man. He didn't
no,
need a redemption.
and when he found out he had cancer, I was like, "Oh my gosh, another parent with cancer." Like it just gets old.
Mhm.
So, actually, yeah, that's a good point. It was not what I expected. The author got me there with that plot twist, and I wonder if the dad is gonna be in the other
In
2
the other
books.
books, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was funny how, Luke's mom was like, uh, you know how old men are. Like, they get one scare and they blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was, like, trying to, seek forgiveness from everybody in his life because he thought he was dying.
Then he's like, "Never mind."
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no, I am curious how that comes into play. Cause yeah, the second book is called Husband Material, and the third book is called Father
Father
Material?
material.
Yeah. So I think you can, like, guess what
Yeah.
those ones would be about, but, and I also wonder if that's why those other character relationships, like, I wonder if the author set out for this to be a trilogy from the beginning, because it would be hard to fill in 3 books with just 2 characters
That's true.
without, like,
Without
any
yeah.
more of their world.
No, that's a good point.
So I am curious about that. Or maybe they wanted it to be a show from the beginning. But you think you'll listen to the next two?
Probably not like immediately,
Yeah.
but I think eventually.
When you're in the mood for something cute
Yeah.
and cozy. It'd be cute to see them, yeah. Like, get married and become fathers.
I bet in father material they have to grapple with their daddy issues as they become fathers themselves.
That's a really good point. So maybe the dad does come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
No, you.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
sorry.
I
No,
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say that, like, you did make a really good point about the character growth, though. That, like, I didn't, like, even, like, really think about that until you said it. But, yeah, when we were just talking about them becoming dads and, like, how Luke's, like, super messy at first, but, like, he tries to become a clean, organized person for Oliver, and, like, how they kind of, like, complement each other in that way, and that they both, like, grow and evolve, like, and make those little changes. I know some people are like, you shouldn't have to change. I'm like, well, but if it's like I can be more tidy for this man I love, like I think that's okay.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, like I do think there was some really good growth. I like kind of forgot about how Luke was at the beginning until we
Mhm.
started talking. So, yeah. I think it was cute. It was cute.
Yeah. What would you rate it?
Um yeah, I'd say 3.5 though. It was cute and it was cozy. But I say like I feel like if it's a 4-star, I would want to like go back and listen to it again,
Mhm.
where, like, this is, like, enough for me to want to continue the series, but maybe not enough that, like, it would become a comfort read and I'd wanna go back and, like, listen to again.
Yeah. I think I'd give it a solid 3. I liked it. I thought it was good. I would recommend it to specific people.
I think that if you're listening to this episode, I would recommend it. We haven't mentioned this, but guys, some of our episodes, like, our Pride movie episode is, like, our least watched episode, so thank you for listening if you're here, and if you haven't watched our double feature Pride movie episode yet, you should go back and watch it or listen to it. We had a special guest on that one too, and it was really good. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. You start this discussion.
Well, do you want to do a
Oh, the
synopsis?
synopsis? Yeah. Did you want me to read it again or do you I had a short one that I found.
You can read it, yeah.
Okay. Joan Goodwin has been obsessed with the stars for as long as she can remember. Thoughtful and reserved, Joan is content with her life as a professor of physics and astronomy at Rice University and as aunt to her precocious niece, Frances. See, I know how to read. I could read precocious. It came out so, like, effortlessly that I was like, yes! Sorry, guys. I don't know if we edited out my other stumbles, but I've been
She
struggling to
really
read tonight.
struggled through the boyfriend material synopsis.
Yeah. Okay. That is, until she comes across an advertisement seeking the first woman scientist to join NASA's space shuttle program. Suddenly, Joan burns to be one of the few people to go to space. Selected from a pool of thousands of applicants in the summer of 1980, Joan begins training at Houston's Johnson Space Center alongside an exceptional group of fellow candidates, Top Gun pilot Hank. Okay, now here it comes.
Never mind.
Top Gun pilot Hank Redmond and scientist John Griffin, who are kind and easygoing even when the stakes are highest, mission specialist Lydia Danes, who has worked too hard to play nice, warm-hearted Donna Fitzgerald, who is navigating her own secrets, and Vanessa Ford, the magnetic and mysterious astronautical engineer, who can fix any engine and fly any plane. As the new astronauts become unlikely friends and prepare for their first flights, Joan finds a passion and a love she never imagined. In this new light, Joan begins to question everything she thinks she knows about her place in the observable universe. Then, in December of 1984, on mission STS-LR9, it all changes in an instant. So I'm realizing that, like, the synopsises that we read from online are obviously kept sort of vague for a reason, and the ones that we wing are usually like a little bit more detailed and has a lot of spoilers. But what you're missing from that is that Vanessa and Joan fall in love, and they're both in this astronaut training program together. All while Joan is kind of trying to balance her life, like in the space camp, but also her complicated relationship with her sister. She's kind of like a second mother figure to her niece. So there's kind of all these moving parts at play, and it switches back and forth between their the past and their budding love stories to the present day, which is a critical space mission is happening. So it's switching between past timeline and this urgent space mission. Does that feel like if you didn't read the book, that's kind of enough?
It's funny because Sydney always, you always still leave your synopses vague because I'm like, well, what happened?
Well,
like
I
we can
figure,
tell them.
Yeah, like some stuff like comes up. Oh, you mean like at the end? Like what? Okay, the mission itself. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry, that was vague. You tell them about the mission and how it ends then.
Okay. So the book starts off in the present day, which the present day is actually 1984, and this space mission that Vanessa is on the mission. Okay, so that's one of the female leads, Joan's lover. The mission is going wrong, and throughout the book it keeps like alternating between this mission that's going wrong and the all their training and everything. And
the current day mission is from Vanessa's POV, right?
Well, it kind of switched back and forth between both of their POVs. So most of the book is from Joan's POV, but we do get some of Vanessa's POV being on this spaceship. So their ship, like, something happened to the pressure in the ship or something.
It's like something didn't latch and something broke off and then hit something. And
long story short, like, everyone on the ship dies except for Vanessa and 2 other astronauts who are injured. Then ultimately another one of them does die. Anyway,
it's Lydia survives, right?
Yeah, Lydia survives.
Or like vaguely survives.
Yeah.
She's like unconscious, but like she has hope of surviving.
Yeah. So throughout the whole book, you know that this is happening and that it's building up to this. And you're like, oh my gosh, is Vanessa going to survive? Is Lydia going to survive? Is anyone else on the ship going to survive? And at the very end, Vanessa, she chooses to stop repairing the ship, basically, or trying to like latch the doors or whatever. I don't know. Sorry for doing a bad job of explaining the spaceship stuff.
We're not astronauts, okay?
Yeah. Basically, she can either choose to like keep repairing the ship to ensure that she will make it home safely, but she'll miss her chance to enter or like re-enter Earth's atmosphere in time to also save Lydia, who's already injured. Okay? So she goes against mission control's, instructions and what they want her to do, and she says, "Screw it! I'm leaving the ship how it is. I'm gonna enter Earth's atmosphere. I'm landing the ship to try to save Lydia and myself."
Like she couldn't live with herself, just like choosing herself.
Yes. Yeah.
And sacrificing her teammate.
Yes. So she takes this huge risk. And I don't want to get ahead of myself and start sharing my opinions, so I'm not going to. But you think she's dead, and then she's not dead. And it's implied that Lydia also survives. She lands the ship. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what happens. Now, Sydney... you guys...
the part I'm scared for.
Sydney loves this book.
You didn't like it? It's not just me, Issa. The world loves this book.
No, I know everybody loves it. I even was texting my sister about it, and she was like, "You're the first person out of like 6 people that I've talked to that didn't love it."
I've literally been sent pictures from like 6 different people now of them crying at the end.
Okay.
So
do you want to share why you love it? Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Oh, well, okay, here's the hard thing is like I read
It's
this
not as
book.
fresh in your mind.
Yeah, I read it several months ago. I think it was in like March.
So I'm about to absolutely destroy you with my opinions because it's fresh in my mind. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, here's what I remember, okay? When the book first started, I was pretty confused because it starts in that present day space mission. And I remember that it took me a little bit to like get into it. But then once I like got into it, that it just like clicked. And that's why I wanted to like reread it, because I'm wondering now, like with the full understanding I had at the end, if I had started it at the beginning, if I hadn't have been like so confused or like trying to keep up with what's going on, you know? But I thought it was a beautiful love story. That's why I liked it.
No,
Like,
it is a beautiful love story, yeah.
I think that it's kind like I don't. Okay, share your thoughts, and then we'll see if like
And
there
you
are
can rebuttal.
some that I agree with, or like where
Okay.
they kind of maybe could even go like together. So
Okay.
okay,
So if you if you guys listened to our episode a month or two ago where we talked about the last song, Cindy and I had this big discussion about emotional manipulation in media, and we were trying to pinpoint what exactly emotional manipulation is, and we were kind of having a hard time. Well, if you want to know what emotional manipulation is, read Atmosphere.
because you
Like,
think she's gonna die.
just the whole thing, but yes, especially that part. And let me get this off my chest as well. I'm not a big fan of like space stories, so maybe that was maybe I'm just kind of biased. But I really feel like she could have written the same story and they did not need to be astronauts. I really felt like she made them astronauts just to have this like intense dramatic life or death moment. And it is one of my biggest pet peeves in all books, which normally it happens in fantasy. So I'm impressed that she was able to pull this off in a contemporary book. Nothing makes me more mad when a character is dead for one page and then in the very next page it's revealed that they're still alive. To me, that is emotional manipulation. And Julia Whelan gave a beautiful performance. It was really moving.
It's the audiobook narrator,
Yes,
if anyone doesn't know. The audiobook was really good.
But I think that contributed to the emotional manipulation as well. Like,
well, no, like
she's
I have
like
thought about
sobbing, acting. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I thought about that because I was like, oh, I want to reread it, and then I was like, well, maybe I should reread it like physically. But then I was like, I don't know if the experience would be the same.
Okay. The other thing too, I just I just don't relate to wanting to go to space, and so it was like bugging me. Like when I thought Vanessa was dead. This is so bad, but I'm like, well, why the hell would you want to go to space? And like I would just never find myself in that position where like me or a loved one was dead because they wanted to go to space. And like it was never explained. Like the whole book, they wanted to go to space just because they wanted to go to space. So I don't know if they had some noble, I probably just don't know enough about like space research and all that. To know like what important work they're doing. I'm sure there's some important work. I sure hope there's some important work besides just like sending rich people up to space when the planet dies. Like I hope there's some better purpose that I just am not aware of. But that was never addressed in the book. So it's like she went and did this space mission and I don't even know what she was doing. Like, was it worth risking her life for? You know what I mean? And sorry, now I'm just on a roll. And I also could not look past the corniness of Vanessa being on the spaceship and like Joan, her, I don't want to say girlfriend because like that doesn't sound like strong enough. Her partner, Joan was like in mission control, like giving her the instructions. And that was just so corny to me. And I know the point was like nobody at NASA, like it was, their relationship was a secret. But, like, I couldn't get past it. I was like, this is so unrealistic. Like, if my husband was in space, I would not want to be the one in the chair, like...
But Joan had just gone to space and everything was fine. So, like, I think that
Yeah,
at this
but
point
Vanessa
they just
wasn't-
felt very nonchalant about it.
Yeah. But
Like,
Vanessa
it's just
wasn't
another
in
mission.
the what's it called? The
Well, she
command
hadn't been
center.
training for that though, because she wanted to
I
be
know,
a
but
pilot. And
I
Joan was
know.
like, actually, I want to be in mission control.
It
Okay,
was just corny to me.
you guys, Issa's being a hater. I'm gonna call her out. No. Well, it's funny
Okay, so
because
you don't agree with any of that.
well, like I legitimately wanted to be an astronaut. Like, if you asked
When
me,
you were
like,
a kid?
yeah.
Okay.
Like, but I come from a big Navy town. We went to like camps that were like Navy pilots. Like, when you watch Top Gun, like that was like the world that I like grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And they had us literally like as kids go to this like Top Gun. Probably looking back, it's like, why? We're just little kids, and they're like, join the military. But like we'd go and they'd do this whole thing, and we'd have these like pilot exercises, and like a lot of people would talk about how like if you wanted to become an astronaut, that being a
Sorry,
Top
I'm still
Gun-
giggling about join the military.
Well, because everyone now calls Top Gun like military propaganda.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love Top Gun. I love those movies.
So you fall for military propaganda and emotional manipulation.
Apparently, look, I've said in like every episode.
Sorry,
I'm
keep
a sucker.
going.
No.
Keep going.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna become a Top Gun pilot, and I'm gonna become an astronaut. Like, that was like, this wasn't like little. I think maybe I was in like the 6th grade.
Wow.
So
I did not know this about you.
Yeah. But then I became like, I don't know what happened to me. I became the most paranoid, freaked out person on this planet. And now I don't do anything that like is scary or puts my life at risk.
Mhm.
I just canceled plans on the 3rd of July with someone because I realized that I'd have to be driving my car at night on a holiday. And I think, no, I'm going to get hit by a drunk driver. So now I'm like the total opposite of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I genuinely wanted to be an astronaut. A disclaimer of that though is that I wasn't that deep into it that I like read into space. I wasn't a space nerd, okay?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what about it that I thought was like super cool, but like that's a valid point that you made. About why would you put your life at risk to do something like that. And that's 100% the mindset that I have now, especially after having my family and finding my husband. Like, I just personally, yeah, I can't relate to like wanting to do something so badly that like it could potentially like lose my family. And yeah, is that like anti-feminist of me to like choose a man over these crazy career aspirations? Maybe, but like
No.
I'm always gonna love my husband more than I love the idea of like going into outer space. So like, yeah, like I guess that part is valid, but I can say that about a lot of career choices. Like, I get it, but also like, you know, some people have weird dreams. Okay, the mission control part, like, I didn't care because it was a really touching moment. Okay.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
No.
That's fair.
No,
That's the thing. Like
I could see it though. Like that it's all convenient to like place them in the right things in the right circumstances. It's gonna lead to this emotional
dramatic moment.
Yeah. I can see that, but
well, and I'm not saying I'm like immune to emotional manipulation. I mean, the whole point when we were talking about the last song, we were scratching our heads like, well, we must fall for emotional manipulation all the time. I think Voicemails for Isabel had a lot of emotional manipulation in it.
Yeah.
But it worked on me because like I have sisters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
wait,
I think
the whole like
sometimes
ending scene...
it works. Sometimes it just works for people and sometimes it doesn't. And this one just did not work for me. Like I was just annoyed, like, because I don't relate to wanting.
Makes me so sad.
I don't relate to wanting to go to space, and nothing pisses me off more than fake killing off a character.
Well, they didn't technically. She wasn't dead. They just lost communication. They knew they were going to lose communication, and they had to wait and see what happened.
Joan had a full-on crash out, screaming, sobbing, crying, throwing up.
Well, because the next page she was going to die.
Houston.
But you know
Houston,
what? My theory is
I landed. Whatever she said.
I've re-entered Earth's orbit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually think though that I think Taylor Jenkins Reid wanted to kill her off, but it was a romance, and she needed to end it on a happily ever after.
No, it's so funny because I was so annoyed that she was dead, and then she came back to life, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know there was an even worse option. Actually,
we just can't
this
win
is
for
even
this
worse.
book.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think she should have just left her dead, maybe.
Okay, it makes me so sad that you're feeling annoyed during this emotional climax because literally this book to me is what I think you felt during Brokeback Mountain.
What I felt during Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah, because I feel like you felt a little bit more passionately about it than I did. I was like, this movie is just so tragic. But that you were saying that there's some movies that you're like, everybody just needs to watch this. And I felt like this gave a really good. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna interrupt myself to say this. Somebody was like, Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote a sapphic love story, and somehow it was also the straightest love story. And I was like, didn't really understand what they meant by that. But then the more I was thinking about it, I was like, I still don't really know specifically. But I could kind of see I think that this was written in a way that other people would read it, that it wasn't initially just labeled as a queer romance,
Mm-hmm.
that they wanted it to be open, and that maybe that, and again with it centering on the space mission and the space story and the astronauts and it being quote historical fiction, was to broaden the audience to embrace this story and to give it a chance, that it could be a high stakes space mission. Oh, and it just
Mm-hmm.
happens to have a lesbian couple, and that I think that it did a really good job at showing just how unfair it is that they couldn't just love each other openly.
Yeah, and I
And
liked.
that I think that if people were receptive, I just think if it was just a contemporary romance, without the space, without the mission, without any, and it was just kind of a story about these two women falling in love, that it might not have gotten a larger audience to read it and to really see those injustices. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, those are all good points. I just don't know if she committed enough to the space stuff to
Yeah.
sell me on it. Overall, I still liked the book. Just the ending left me feeling so annoyed that
As
that's
I'm
what I've been.
sobbing for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
Lisa's just shaking her head.
No, there were parts I really liked. Okay. I really liked so Lydia is kind of the antithesis of Joan throughout the book. And so these female astronauts, they're surrounded by all these men, and throughout the book, some of the men are more misogynistic than others, and they're cracking all these sexist jokes. And Joan's response is to not laugh, not react. There's another woman named Lydia who laughs at all the men's jokes and really hams it up with them. And Lydia and Joan have this really interesting conversation about which one of their responses is the correct one. And it would take me too long, and I don't remember all of it to really get into all of it, but it was just a really interesting discussion. These women were arguing about how to react to these men, and then they're like, wait, why are we arguing? This is their fault, their problem. This is a lose-lose situation for us. Either way, they don't see us as equals, so we shouldn't be arguing. We're on the same side. So I really liked. Oh, what?
I was just going to say, it actually reminds me of the conversation we had talking about Love Island. So go back and listen to that, you guys. But, they're both just trying to, survive the best way they can in the environment that they're in.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why, I can't even, get mad at these women that were, defending the men on Love Island because, you have two ways to make it through this world. The easy way or the hard way. and they're taking the easy way, but, like, can you really blame them?
Yeah, exactly. No,
So
that was a good modern day comparison. Astronauts versus islanders. So no, I appreciated all of the commentary on feminism. And then another part I really liked, and this was at the end in the life or death situation. Vanessa, she was kind of saying her last goodbyes, and she told Joan, she said, "Tell everybody that I wanted to come home and my life had meaning." And that part did make me emotional. Vanessa was a 37-year-old woman, and to people that didn't know that she, was in love with Joan, they probably looked at her and thought like, well, she wasn't married to a man, she didn't have children. There's people that I know that think that a woman's life doesn't have meaning if they're
yeah.
not married to a man or have children. And so that part did really touch me.
See, I got goosebumps just while you're talking about it, and you're like, I hate this book. And I'm like, oh.
No, I didn't hate it. I gave it
know.
3 stars. I gave it 3 stars.
You just, yeah. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
But
I forgot about all these things, so I'm glad that you're saying it. I'm like, yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, no. Overall, it was good, and I think Taylor Jenkins Reid is a really good writer. I did like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo better, though. And you haven't read that one, so I would be curious. I would be curious which one you like better.
Yeah,
But now that I know you wanted to be an astronaut as a kid, I have a feeling you'll still like Atmosphere better.
Well, I mean, it was 20 years ago, okay? Like, I don't know what was going through my mind at that time. But, no, I am eager to read the other one too. This is the only book that I've read by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So, I definitely want to read more. But, yeah, there's a lot of books that you can go in either like reading the story or like reading the message. Because like I said, at the beginning, I was really confused. And so and it did take me a second. Like, I think a couple hours to get into it. Like, I started it and it took me like a week to like listen here. And then when it clicked, and I like needed to finish it. Like, I'm going and driving like 3 hours with my kids in their car seats, just driving around so that I could listen and finish this book. Really what it boils down to is like, I love a good love story. And we talked about that. Like, we love love stories more than we love romance, the genre,
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this did a really good job at telling a beautiful love story. And there was just like a lot of moments that kind of like the feelings that we get, or that I think I can say that we got while watching Heated Rivalry and Brokeback Mountain, is that there's these moments in both of those that just like make you feel like so sad for these characters that they can't just like be themselves and like be with each other. And I felt like this did a good job at evoking that, and so it gives me that feeling of like, oh, I just want everyone to like read this, because it's like once you read their relationship, like, again, you can ignore everything else about the space, but just like read their relationship and like it feels such common sense, like why are we not letting these women be together? Like it feels like it's written in such like a beautiful but also just like simple way that like I just don't get it. Like, you're just scratching your head like, so why? They're gonna lose their jobs and everything's at risk because like these two women fell in love. They can't go to their sister's wedding and hold hands together. Like all these like they did a good job at like showing me these scenes that were just like I said, they're just sad. And that I think that if other people read, maybe there'd be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. When you put it that way, yes, it was good.
Issa's like, a little bit too much space. Don't give me a fake out death. But you know what? I cried when
the end just bothered me.
Can we give an ACOTAR spoiler? Like, at what point do I have to like not give ACOTAR spoilers? But without saying, did you cry during that scene?
In Wings and Ruin?
Uh-huh. A fake out
No,
death?
that is
It
a
made you
prime
mad?
example of what pisses me off.
It made me cry.
I never for one single second thought that he was actually dead.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is stupid.
The thing about this book, though, is like, I thought that she might die.
No, I did think she was dead. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have gone to space.
That's what you get.
No, I did think she was going to die. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, like, because it's kind of like boyfriend material where it's like resolved on the last page.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm like, wait, is this not a romance? Is there not a happily ever after? Like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it was all good. Well, kind of. I guess, like, really, I don't know what their future's gonna look like because they've just outed themselves. I know that, like,
Yeah,
Vanessa was
true.
trying to keep it vague, but then Joan was like, screw it. And also, like, her having a massive sobbing breakdown probably would give some things away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the unfortunate part. And especially with it being a historical romance, and why she had to end the book right at that moment was because,
Yeah.
unfortunately, their future's very uncertain.
They probably got fired. But at that point, would you even want to keep being an astronaut? Like, I think I'd be done.
I'd, like, get off with, like, shaking legs and be like, I'm never doing that again.
All their friends died. Yeah.
Okay, but there are some crazy
I'd put
people.
in my 2 weeks.
There's this movie called, like, 72 Days or something like that, and it has 42 Days? I don't know. It has Shailene Woodley in it. She gets stranded at sea for however many days is in the title. Literally, like, having hallucination, almost dies, like, the craziest experience. And then, like, I was reading about her story afterwards because it's based on a true story, and she's like, she didn't let this hold her back from her love of sailing. And I'm like, girl, no. And, like, Bethany Hamilton loses her arm, and then she's like, but I love surfing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't.
Well, you probably think, like, okay, something that there was, like, a less than 1% chance of happened to me. It certainly cannot happen to me again.
I mean, that's true. I've just never felt that passionate about anything.
No.
So, no, I totally get that part.
Well, even you telling me you wanted to be an astronaut as a kid, I'm like, I'd never heard that about you before, but I was like, no, that makes sense. Like, Sydney's been through a lot of phases.
Yeah. I feel really passionate about things for about 1 month max. That's why, like, I just made a post about us hitting over 6 months for the podcast.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, no, honestly, that's really impressive because I'm not really a see it through type of gal. Except for when it comes to my husband. I was committed to that. But
you're like, let me make this clear.
Yeah, but I've gone through a lot. Like, during COVID, I watched a lot of SVU, and literally I was posting on my stories like, does anyone know anything about, like, forensic science degrees? I didn't have my degree yet, okay? So I had some flexibility. But yeah, then I found out that in order to be a detective, you have to be a cop. I don't know, maybe that's common sense to a lot of people, but, like, I thought you could just go and, like, investigate things and, like, be solving the mysteries without being a police officer. And once I found that out, I was like, no, I don't want to be a police officer.
That's another thing. Like, I would never want to be an astronaut. I would never want to be a detective. Like, that sounds creepy to me.
You wouldn't want to go to the scenes and just, like, scope it out?
Are you serious? Like a murder scene?
Well, I actually don't want to see the bodies, but, like, I can, like, swipe for
you can't even watch.
and...
like, you can't handle any blood, and you thought you were gonna be a detective.
Look, I was gonna be somebody. Look, it was gonna be a perfect world. I was gonna be somebody in the office. They'd bring me the clues.
The clues.
and I would solve it. Bring me the fingerprints, bring me the DNA, you tell me what you found at the crime scene, and I'll piece it all together.
I don't know, Sydney. You'd probably have to look at graphic photos, even if you weren't actually at the
that's
scene.
true. No, it's actually like I went through a lawyer phase too. I'm still kind of in my lawyer phase. But like then I was thinking about like criminal law, and I was like, they have to see awful things.
You don't have to do criminal law, though.
I know, which is why I said like, who knows? Maybe I still will.
Well,
I
I
have a
know I'm
master's in public
teasing
health.
you.
I could do policy.
I know I'm teasing you, but Sydney, I truly do believe you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. You just have to put your mind to it.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't noticed yet, yes, I'm ADD. And I actually have a funny story about that. I went to like pick up my meds, and my doctor was like, you haven't refilled this prescription since January. And I was like, yeah, I kept forgetting. And he's like, wow, it almost sounds like you have ADHD. I'm like, who would have thought?
Well, we didn't even get to the horrible sister that was so maddening in the book.
Oh my gosh.
Or the fact that Joan was mid-30s and had never considered the possibility of being a lesbian until she went to a strip club, which I feel like we need a lesbian correspondent on here to tell us if that's at all realistic.
That's true.
But I have to pee really bad, and
Okay. And it's late. And we need to watch Love Island.
Late. And I need to edit this episode before.
Which really I can do if you need help. But
No, I can do it. I just, yeah, I've had to pee like this whole time, actually.
So basically what you can get from this is, if you don't like space missions and emotional manipulation, read it for the love story and the love story alone. If you're a sucker for me that can just like fall into a world with no thought on anything else, then you might.
No, that's not true.
You might really love it.
That's not true. It was good. Taylor Jenkins Reid is a good author.
I think I gave it, I'll say like 4 stars. I really loved it, but I can't say 5 stars because I genuinely, like, it took me a long time to lock in.
Okay. I was going to say, are you lowering it to 4 because of me?
Second half, 5 stars. First half, 3 stars. What would that average out to?
I guess 4.
That's probably how I felt. So
I gave it 3 stars, which that's a decent rating for me. It's not like I gave it 1 star.
Yeah. You didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, read or don't read these books. Either way, we hope you enjoyed our conversation. And yeah, we'll
we hope
keep reading
everyone
more.
had a great Pride Month.
We've talked about how we, it's not just like a Pride Month type thing. We care about these stories year long. So we'll have more, and yeah.
Okay, yeah, and if you want to hear our thoughts on the Casa Amor recoupling, don't forget we dropped a bonus episode today as well. And on Friday, tune in for our review of What a Girl Wants, an Amanda Bynes classic.
Yes. Issa's never seen it.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, thank you guys for listening.
See you then.
Bye.